Hi guys. So you guys know the folks up there, right? You know Mark Zuckerberg. Who doesn't know Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk? Who doesn't? So we all know them. But how much do you know about them? Like, do you know the kind of backgrounds they're from? They are both billionaires right now, right? Top billionaires in the world. But the funny thing is, and very interesting thing, which is part of the reason why we're here today, is that they built billion-dollar companies. But they built it because, well, not necessarily because, but more like they had a foundation that really supported them to build it, right? They're both from environments where Silicon Valley, and they're also more from affluent families. Mark Zuckerberg got $100,000 from his father to start his business, right? Elon Musk is also from a very well-grounded family in South Africa. But he's not an African, is he? But he is an African anyway by birth, right? But the real sense of it, they both had a lot of support financially from the family. But today I'm going to talk to you about, my slide is not working, but today I'm going to talk to you about how to do this, probably from a family that is not as affluent, for a more average family. A family where, probably you definitely need to have your own self put together so you can finance yourself into making that happen. So I'm just basically here to share my own story. So while my slides are getting their heads together, my name is Odumade, just like I was introduced, and I'm from a mid-class family, right? So typically, there we are, so that's me, right? Happy, jolly guy, singing in primary school, really excited about being in primary school. And I was more or less in primary school, before I got to my story, I was saying, in Nigeria, there's the high-class family, which is just a small size, then a mid-class average family, which is like very wide, right, a wide range, and then you have the lower class. So I belong to that. I got it, thank you. So we basically come from a mid-size family. Now in primary school, I was a very excited guy, as you can see, right? And during that time, I was always leading the class from behind. So I was always one of the top 3 from behind. So if we're 13 in the class, if I am not the 10th, I'll be the 11th, 12th, or 13th. A very special position. Yeah, but that's my story, right? And that's how it started. But thanks to this woman, my mom, right, she really pushed me. Because in primary school, I didn't really care much about learning anything. I just wanted to have fun. But she, coming from a banking background, she's very sound in mathematics. She's also a no-nonsense African parent. Basically, how our parents are now. So she just wasn't having it with her child carrying last in school. So it really got me thinking later on in life, basically after primary school, that perhaps there was more to what I could discover about myself than just the fact that I am, part of this family. So it really got me pondering. And from the transition of primary school to secondary school, I could say I got smarter, so to say, right? Because I decided that I was going to make a difference. And that kind of unlocked something about myself in my head, which was that I have a photographic memory. So I could easily remember things when I see them. And that really helped me throughout secondary school. So I improved dramatically from being the top last 3 from the back to being the top, to being the top 1, right? So from GS1, I moved from a class where we had like 50 students because it was a public school. I became 23rd first. You guys are not clapping for me. So I became 23rd in the class of 50 in the second term of GS1. And then third term, I became 9th in the class. See, we're getting somewhere. So in GS2, I became 4th. By GS3, I was leading the class. Right? Thank you very much. And that was consistent till I left secondary school, right? So I discovered that, oh, I'm actually smart after all. So then, but then at the end of secondary school, so I became president of the JETS Club, Mathematics Club, another Genotype Foundation Club, a club I founded in the secondary school. I was representing the school in all the math competitions. You know, very interesting life. I realized, oh, quite smart, right? But post-secondary school, in the early 2000s, I realized something else about myself, that I have a lot of interest in software. And this, in the early 2000s, the most of software that I got to see was smartphones. So your Java phones, your Symbian phones. And my major interest there was the games, right? Of course, I was a teenager. Major interest were the games, mobile games on it. But the most fascinating thing, or what really fascinated me the most about these smartphone apps was the fact that they had characters moving. I wonder, how did they get in there, right? So I started researching and started learning. Soon afterwards, I started programming. You know, started programming J2ME. And, you know, started building small applications. Then I thought to myself that, I mean, post-secondary school, what I would just want to do is start a software company. I wanted to build something of my own. And that's exactly what I decided to do with myself. But then, after secondary school, I thought I needed capital to start a business if I'm going to start a business in software in Nigeria. And at that time, the industry that made the most sense was oil and gas. So this was like the early 2010, you know, late 2009. So I felt I needed to go and study oil and gas, get an oil and gas job, make some money, quit, and start a software company. I tried to do that, but that didn't work. So I got into university to study geology. So basically, I'm following the oil and gas dream. But then, because after high school, I spent like 4 years at home, you know, doing something else, basically business and all of that. So that was my first experience actually trying out business, you know, before going to university. So by the time I got into university, I knew exactly what I was going to do. But then, in the second year in school, I decided to actually try my hands on building a software business. I decided not to even wait till after school. So I went to the University of Ibadan, and then I built strictlyui.com with my friend, which was basically like a Facebook for the university. So Facebook was shacking me then. So I decided to build something that, you know, could connect lecturers and students together. But soon after launching this, we discovered that students were only signing up for one thing. Guess. Guess, what do you guys like? Gossips. People wanted to be on the platform because they get to know what is going on in the hostel, you know, whose stuff got stolen, you know, who is like the hottest guy on campus or hottest girl on campus. That's what folks were interested in. And that was my first learning of how to build a B2C, right, which is focus on your users, or any software business at all, right? People want to use the platform for what they want to use it for. But it's designed for an initial purpose, but people will use it for how they want to use it. Users are king, right? So within a year plus, we got 30,000 students signed up on this platform, just by working with the student union president. But this platform failed, right? It failed majorly because there was really no growth for it. You know, I already saw it that there was no way this was going to scale into another university and then scale into be a global business. It wasn't going to be another Facebook. There was no way. So after university, you know, I decided to do something else. I decided to build more of a music streaming platform. So something that allows you to, you know, stream music and also chat at the same time. And this was more or less my angle of saying a Spotify and WhatsApp put together, right? Now, my slide is doing it again. So Spotify and WhatsApp put together. So this platform, it got up to, you know, 2,000 monthly active users. And then I did something. I decided to go on LinkedIn, search for the head of partnerships at one of the major labels, Warner Music, and reach out to her. You know, just a small 3-line message. And what I said was, hey, I love your catalog. You guys have great catalog. You know, I love Michael Jackson. I've done my research, actually. You know, just do the Google search, check for their top artists on their catalog, and then put it there. Like, I love your artist and all of that. And then the second line was, I'm building this platform that is going to give you guys access to the African audience. So this was a period when, you know, the African audience or listeners were moving from downloading music to streaming music. This was in the early 2014, 2015. And, you know, I sent this to her. And she accepted my invite for a call, 15 minutes call. We did that. We had a call. She was super interested. And before you know it, Warner Music made an offer that I didn't take. And that led to the business failing again. Now, I didn't take this offer because they were basically going to take 65% revenue per user. When I ran my numbers, the business was not going to be sustainable, right? But what I didn't learn or understand was the fact that with that kind of an offer, you should also bring in a clause that allows you to renegotiate 12 months down the line. So that could have been a way for that business to actually grow and scale if I'd taken the deal and then renegotiated down the line. Now, fast forward after that moment of failing in that second business again, because it was a B2C, I wanted to build something that, you know, could actually bring funds, could sustain itself as a business. So I decided to go a different route this time around, you know. I said, doing it 3 times is the charm, right, so to say. So on this third occasion, I decided to do something different. I decided to build a B2B system, a business for business. But then it has to be something that solves a key need. And there are a bunch of opportunities in Africa today because we have several problems that we are facing. Economically, socially, several problems. And we need to fix this continent, right? It can start with our generation. So I spotted the opportunity of creating a solution for counterfeit pharmaceuticals. So if you look at it, and I realized that it is way more rewarding for me, actually, to use my talent in solving a key need that can impact millions of lives, because the money is going to follow after, innit? But besides that, would actually create something with legacy. So I discovered that the dangers of counterfeit is so pronounced, however, not a lot of us notice it. If I ask everyone in the room today how many times you've actually decided to scratch off the sticker label you buy on that anti-malaria, how many of us have done it before? It's less than 5% of the room. In short, probably less than 1%, right? And that is actually not good enough. Reason being that hundreds of thousands of people still die, millions in Africa, still die as a result of counterfeit medications, particularly the popular ones, the ones in high demand, you know, antibiotics, anti-malaria. And this was actually what led to me thinking of this as an innovative solution that we can bring to the fore to solve key problems in Africa. And this problem is majorly because of key supply chain issues. When you look at it, the pharmaceutical space in Africa is heavily, heavily fragmented, right? With several importation routes, you know, several licenses, fake licenses being given, fake products moving around the continent easily, because you can easily bribe at the borders and bring these products in. And lives are at danger, because you can't even differentiate between a counterfeit product and an original one just by looking at them. You can't. So this actually led me to think of creating something much more innovative. And doing my research in the market with my team, we discovered that over the past 10 years, companies have been existing before us, which are the sticker labels I'm referring to, get less than 10% authentication. And the reason is because we just trust the neighborhood pharmacies around us, right? You believe that guy in your street is not going to sell counterfeit medication because, of course, you live in a high-brow area, for instance. Or you just think that, you just believe that this pharmacy on the next street to me is definitely not going to sell counterfeit because, I mean, he won't want me to die, but you never know, right? So this was what led us to creating Chekkit. Now, Chekkit is an anti-counterfeiting platform that does serialization and traceability for products across all levels, from providing the serial codes on a manufacturing plant to providing authentication at the end, last mile. Now, the authentication at Chekkit follows both serial code authentication over USSD and also scanning, right? But the twist about it is that we provide incentives to consumers when they verify products to encourage verification, right? The act of verifying products. So basically, for every 5 products a consumer verifies, they get 100 naira free airtime. And we've seen that work tremendously. We've seen over 60% authentication rates in some instances, right? And the other value on the other side that we provide to the brands is that they get insights, intelligence about who's buying their products, where they're buying from, what they think about their product, why they're choosing their products over a competitor's products. And over the years, since we launched this, we've seen distributed our codes on over 50 million products, seen over 500,000 consumer authentications, as well as engaged directly with top world-class organizations like SAP. So this is how this young black African, Nigerian, has built a startup that has global integrations with global partners like SAP, Microsoft, GS1. We've also had opportunities to be in several accelerator programs across the world, about 5, right, to name a few. And these numbers are primarily because of learning, right? Learning from my mistakes, learning from my failures, right, which is very key, very fundamental. And we hope to do more, right? So 50 million today should be 5 billion in probably 2-3 years. What do you think, right? But to wrap it up, so some of us here might be thinking of starting up their own business, which is very fundamental, because again, Africa has a lot of challenges, and there are a lot of opportunities in those challenges. What is most important is to dream big, right? Think of that really big-ass problem that you can solve with your technology or with your innovation. And then that you also have a key class of people willing to pay for the solution for that big problem. You can look at it in the financial institution space, you can look at it in the healthcare space, in the logistics space, several challenges everywhere. But then you need to start small. Think of starting from a point of view of finding the first customer who is going to pay for that solution. Test it with them, in bits and pieces. Even give it out for free at first. So you learn, you gather data, you learn, and then based on that, you can reiterate and sell your product again. And I think after you do that, you then also launch a POC, a paid POC, a paid pilot. POC means proof of concept, right? Now, when you do that, you also be able to learn that this client that actually has this problem also has the buying power to pay for it. And once they do that, you can survive your business on it. When we started Chekkit, in 2 months, we had our first paying client, majorly because we knew it was a problem, and we actually tested the solution with the customer. I was in a meeting with the customer. At this time, I had not even engineered the product, so I have a background in user experience design. So I'd already designed the experience, walked into the meeting with the client, showed the client, clicked the buttons, the entire application was moving, but there was actually no code behind it, right? The client asked how much, and then the client paid. Then I hired the engineer. I built the product and delivered to the client. That's how you do business, right? From start, if you don't have the capital to start, right? Meaning that you can use your own self-resource, build out something that then allows the customer to actually pay you for you to build and deliver that solution to the customer. So yeah, nothing is impossible. Everything is possible. Thank you very much. Thank you for being here.